In the ancient world, few sights were more terrifying than a Roman legion advancing toward you. Thousands of soldiers moving in formation, shields locked, armor glimmering in the sun, the sound of iron-shod sandals striking the earth like a drumbeat of war. To Rome's enemies, a legionary was more than a soldier. He was part of a machine built to conquer the world. But what exactly did a Roman legionary wear? What made his equipment so feared across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East? Tonight, we explore the equipment of the Roman legionary, not only the weapons and armor, but the tools that helped Rome build an empire. A Roman legionary did not simply wake up and put on armor. His equipment represented years of training, discipline, and enormous state organization. Unlike many tribal warriors of the ancient world, Roman soldiers were standardized. Their gear was designed for efficiency, repair, and mass production. A legionary had to march for weeks, build camps, survive harsh climates, and fight in brutal close combat. Everything he carried had a purpose, and one of the first things a Roman soldier put on were his sandals, the famous Caligae, heavy military sandals built from thick leather. At first glance, they may seem primitive, but they were engineered for long military campaigns. The open design allowed airflow in the heat of Italy, Egypt, and the eastern provinces. The thick soles protected the feet during endless marches across rough terrain. And beneath the soles, iron hobnails, small metal studs hammered into the leather. These nails improved grip on dirt roads and muddy battlefields, while also making the sandals last far longer. When thousands of legionaries marched together, the sound of those iron nails striking stone roads echoed for kilometers. Ancient enemies often heard the Roman army before they saw it. But the Caligae had weaknesses too. In the freezing forests of Germania and Britannia, the open sandals exposed soldiers to cold, frostbite, and infection. Roman armies learned this lesson the hard way during northern campaigns. Still, for centuries, the Caligae became one of the symbols of the Roman military. Above the sandals came the tunic, usually made from wool. Simple, durable, practical. Most legionaries likely wore red or reddish tones, though colors could vary depending on period and supply. The tunic alone offered little protection, but over it came the armor that would become legendary, the Lorica Segmentata, one of the most recognizable armors in history. Made from overlapping iron plates, fastened together with leather straps and metal fittings. It protected the chest, shoulders, and back while still allowing flexibility. This was crucial. Roman soldiers did not fight as lone heroes. They fought shoulder to shoulder in disciplined formations. A legionary needed protection, but also freedom to thrust with his sword, raise his shield, and march long distances. The segmented design helped balance both. Sword strikes could glance off the curved iron plates. Arrows lost power against the reinforced sections, and the shoulder guards gave extra protection during close combat. But the armor came with problems. It was expensive, heavy, and required constant maintenance. Iron rusted quickly, leather straps broke, metal fittings loosened over time. Maintaining armor became part of daily military life. Roman camps often sounded with the noise of sharpening stones, hammering metal, and soldiers repairing equipment by firelight. And despite what movies often show, the armor was not always shining silver. Campaigns covered it in mud, dust, sweat, and blood. Not all legionaries wore the Lorica Segmentata. Some used chain-mail armor called Lorica Segmentata. Others wore scale armor known as Lorica Squamata. Chainmail was extremely durable and surprisingly effective against cuts. Scale armor offered good protection but could become vulnerable if damaged. The Roman army constantly adapted equipment depending on region, enemy, and time period. That flexibility became one of Rome's greatest strengths. Then came the helmet, perhaps the most intimidating part of the Roman legionary's appearance. Roman helmets evolved over centuries, but many shared similar features: iron construction, cheek guards, reinforced brow ridges, and large neck guards. The neck guard was especially important. In close combat, downward strikes from swords or axes could kill a soldier instantly. The curved rear plate helped deflect blows away from the spine. Inside the helmet, padding reduced impact and improved comfort during long marches. Some officers wore crests made from horsehair. These could run front to back or side to side depending on rank and period. On chaotic battlefields filled with dust and screaming men, crests helped soldiers identify commanders quickly. But helmets were not just protective gear. They were psychological weapons. Imagine facing thousands of identical iron helmets advancing in silence behind walls of shields. The Roman army understood fear, and they used it well. Then there was the shield, the scutum, large, curved, and designed for formation warfare. The shield often measured over 1 meter tall and covered much of a soldier's body. Constructed from layers of wood glued together and covered with leather, the scutum was surprisingly strong without becoming impossibly heavy. Its curved shape helped deflect incoming attacks while protecting the soldier standing beside you. This mattered enormously in Roman warfare, because a legionary never fought alone. The shield also allowed one of Rome's most famous tactics, the testudo, the tortoise formation. Soldiers locked shields together in front and overhead, creating a moving wall against arrows and missiles. To enemies watching from city walls, it looked almost unstoppable. At the center of the shield sat the metal boss, the umbo. This was not decorative. A legionary could punch enemies with it during close combat, smashing faces, breaking noses, and creating openings for sword thrusts. Roman warfare was disciplined, but also brutally violent. And finally, the weapon most associated with the Roman legionary, the Gladius, a short sword designed primarily for thrusting. Many ancient warriors preferred large, slashing attacks. The Romans trained differently: quick, efficient, controlled. A short thrust into the stomach or chest often killed faster than dramatic swings. Roman soldiers practiced endlessly with wooden swords against training posts, again and again, until stabbing became instinct. The gladius worked perfectly with the scutum. A legionary could remain protected behind the shield while delivering deadly thrusts through small openings. This combination helped Rome dominate battlefields for centuries. But Roman soldiers carried far more than armor and weapons. A marching legionary often carried tools, cooking equipment, stakes for camp fortifications, food, blankets, water containers, and personal belongings. Roman armies were famous for building fortified camps every single night during campaigns, even after exhausting marches. That required tools, axes, shovels, picks. The Roman soldier was not merely a fighter. He was also a builder and engineer. Some historians estimate legionaries carried over 30 kilograms during long marches. This earned them a nickname among some contemporaries, Marius Mules, because they carried so much equipment. And despite all this gear, the true strength of the Roman legionary was not the equipment itself. It was discipline. Many enemies had brave warriors, some had stronger men, some even had superior cavalry. But few armies matched the organization and training of Rome. Roman equipment worked because Roman soldiers trained constantly to use it together. Every shield position, every formation, every movement, repeated until it became automatic. The legion was a machine, and every soldier was a part of it. Over time, Roman equipment changed. The empire evolved. Enemies adapted. Economics shifted. By the late empire, equipment became less standardized. Some classic gear disappeared entirely. But the image of the Roman legionary endured. The iron helmet, the segmented armor, the curved shield, the nailed sandals marching across stone roads. Even today, over 1,000 years after the fall of Rome, the Roman legionary remains one of the most recognizable soldiers in human history, because his equipment represented something larger than war. It represented discipline, organization, power, and the unstoppable expansion of Rome. If you enjoyed this journey into the equipment of the Roman legionary, subscribe for more historical stories and cinematic deep dives into the ancient world. Ave Roma.